My name is Ida Chama. I'm the acting head of Nutrition, Education and Communication Unit. I work for National Food and Nutrition Commission. Today, we are concluding on the issue of breastfeeding. In my earlier episodes, I talked of breastfeeding having 3 recommendations: early initiation, exclusive breastfeeding, and then today we are looking at continued breastfeeding. So the 3 are the practices that we are encouraging the mothers, parents to follow. The other thing I should mention this week is the World Breastfeeding Week. I know most of you listen to the radio. You have heard about World Breastfeeding Week commemorations, and a lot of activities are happening in various districts trying to raise awareness about breastfeeding. So if we talk about this year's World Breastfeeding Week, there's a theme that we are following, which states that enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. This is quite important. But when we are talking of working parents, we are not only talking of parents working in the formal sector. We are also including the parents who are working in informal sector. So we are trying to look at breastfeeding, share the information about the benefits of breastfeeding, how to overcome the challenges that working parents face when they have a breastfeeding baby. So we are saying that in whichever, whether informal or formal sector where you are working as a parent with a child who is breastfeeding, it is possible that you can continue breastfeeding. For instance, if you talk of our colleagues who are working in informal sector like the market, you'll find that you can have your baby with you at the market. Ensure that the environment where you are at the market, at your store, at the market store, ensure that it's hygienically clean. And even if you are with that baby, ensure that that baby, when you are breastfeeding, you breastfeed this baby with clean hands. And most times be with this baby so that you continue breastfeeding at all times with no problems. And there could be other traditional beliefs. I know I'm Zambian. A lot of people think when you are breastfeeding in public, there are certain norms, myths that we have believed in them so much that will actually hamper on the breastfeeding of our babies. Please, let's try to safeguard those. You can make you can cover the baby when you are breastfeeding at a public place. It's also an hygiene rule that you can do that. So we are encouraging all women, all parents to breastfeed the babies from the time the baby is born up to 2 years. If need be, you can even go beyond the 2 years. But the window of opportunity, it's up to 2 years. Of course, later on, it's just helping the baby to grow and develop. Another example could be those who are in informal employment. For example, you are employed at the bank. This is an appeal even to the institutions that they can even provide a breastfeeding room for the mothers who are breastfeeding. If you go for work and you have a baby who is breastfeeding, it will be important to have a room where probably a caretaker of the baby, a caregiver of the baby, comes with the baby at your place of work. You break for 30 minutes or for 1 hour and you breastfeed that baby and the baby goes back home. If that is not achieved, we are encouraging again the mothers or parents who are in informal employment to express their breast milk, and then they give that breast milk to the baby whilst the mother is away from the baby. It is very, very key that the baby breastfeeds, especially, like I said in the previous discussion, the first 6 months of life, where the baby is entirely dependent on the breast milk. So it is very possible to breastfeed, whether you are working in an informal setting or formal setting. There are certain practices, like I've talked of expressing the milk. Those are the practices that you should uphold if we have to keep our babies well. We know that, like in the first episode, I talked of giving breast milk alone. There are certain mothers, actually, we introduce food very early to the baby. Others, it's just upon maybe 3, 5, 1 week after delivery to say the baby is crying a lot, you need to give food. Those, we call them pre-lactal feeds. We are saying they are not good for the baby. Unless there is a problem, then you have taken your baby to the health facility, and then the medical personnel have prescribed something that you can give to the baby. But breastfeeding, the practices that you should follow, at 6 months, that's when the other foods are introduced. But on continued breastfeeding, we are saying after 6 months, in addition to the other foods that you introduce, still breastfeeding has to continue all the way up to 2 years of age. So this is what we are saying about continued breastfeeding. We started with early initiation of breastfeeding to the baby soon after birth, within 1 hour of delivery. Then we have also discussed issues pertaining to exclusive breastfeeding, and now we are talking of continued breastfeeding, where we are saying even if the baby at 6 months start getting other foods, still continue breastfeeding up to 2 years or beyond, for the baby to grow well, for the baby to develop into a healthy baby. Thank you very much.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kid show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamanga, as I get to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Akora kansheko alakula chancha mukero kula chekerera ucho mwana na nyina ngana babutuka uwinge wo munangati kasambe nani ingata mwishibe pekati twipushe bana fya sasa ushe umwana na nyina ingana babutuka uwinge wo munangati kasambe nani mwe ipushe yini ipushe nyabo mwikere nabo.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Comnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Comnet TV, not just another channel.
Good afternoon and welcome to the People's Verdict. I'm Patrick Soko, and today standing in on behalf of Marco Kwakozi, and I will be with you up to the hour of 14. We are going to go straight into our first segment, which we call the Emerging Stories, and this is where we get to look at stories that are going to make the cuts in the main news, and we look at stories that are emerging, happening, which are being filed by our reporters on the ground, and then so that we get you updated as things and events unfold. Now, we are starting with a story where over 3,000 Mulungushi University students have been left out of the students' loan scheme. Mulungushi Students University student activist Kafwa Kawe says out of 4,496 students that applied for the loans, only 4,296 were eligible, but only 1,403 were awarded the student's loan. Mr. Kawe tells Comnet TV News in an interview that many of the left-out students come from the not well-to-do families and cannot afford self-sponsorship. The university student activist adds that if the government does not review the number of beneficiaries, many of the students are likely to drop out due to financial difficulties. Let's get to listen to this story where the students are complaining.
We are following it up based on the list which came out a few days ago regarding the students who applied for student loans. Looking at the number of students that applied for student loans, we had about 4,496, and out of that number, 4,296 were eligible. But then only 1,403 were given student loans. And if you look at that number, it's about 32.66 of the eligible candidates. So our appeal to the government is they should consider increasing the number of students to benefit from the student loans. Or if they don't do so, we are likely to have a lot of students who won't have access to tertiary education, because most of these students, they don't have any other means to raise money for tuition fees and other things. Their only hope was through the student loans. So we wish to call upon the government to consider increasing the number at least by 50%. If anything, let it be 60% in order to help our students there. Otherwise, we are going to see a lot of students not having access to tertiary education, and we have a lot of dropout students from the university.
Well, thank you for staying with us on the Lunchtime Cafe, and we can get interacting, our dear viewers, in case you want to join the conversation here on Camnet TV, not just another channel. Remember that you can always watch Camnet TV on Topstar, DSTV, and GoTV, and as well as on our social media platforms on Facebook as well as YouTube, so that we can get interacting. This is an interactive program, the Lunchtime Cafe, and where we get you updated with the stories that are emerging as the day continues to unfold. Now we look at another story pertaining to the emerging stories, where an agricultural economist has charged that the loan model to replace the Farmers Input Support Program, FISIP, is welcome, but must use the pilot approach by trying it in selected areas. Edify Hamukare says it should also be clear as to whether there will be cash loans or input packages, and which crops will be supported on how those crops will improve agriculture GDP for Zambia. Dr. Hamukare says the Zambian farmers have poor loan payment culture, which led to Lima Bank liquidation. So let's get to listen to this story. We'll be back.
Yeah, I totally agree with the Honorable Minister Mutolo on the issue of phasing out FISIP on grounds that it has not been totally effective. I can also confirm that we've had a lot of ghost farmers in the past, and we've had a lot of senior agriculture officers, camp extension officers getting arrested and taken to court, and some even losing their jobs for mismanaging FISIP, and sometimes managing it in a manner that benefits themselves, and also even people in very, very senior positions, getting involved in fraud in as far as the fertilizer input support program is concerned. It's true. There have been loopholes that require to be filled up. There have been also loopholes in the procurement process under FISIP, where certain individuals have always been benefiting as big suppliers. When I was with Panaseed, we were the suppliers together with Sidico, Zamseed, and others, Omnia, and so on. But you would find there are people that will always win tenders every year. And that was really surprising. So corruption was there. Nevertheless, this program must be handled with extreme care. The transition must be managed extremely well. What am I saying? Giving loans is good, but we should consider in what form are we going to give these loans? Will it be cash, or will it be
There you have it. That's a story there where Mr. Hamugare, who is now a doctor, expressing concern pertaining to the administration of the Farmers Input Support Program. The government did indicate that they will be reviewing the Farmers Input Support Program, FISIP, and this has been topical for a while as citizens are concerned that FISIP has been a program that the Zambian government has been advancing pertaining to national food security, and this program has also been beneficial to the Zambian farmers, and it has continued to raise concern as to how the government will implement the loan model, considering that this model was tried in the past and it failed, citing the Lima Bank, which went into liquidation. And we are hoping that the government will do this program in a phased approach, as Dr. Hamugare did suggest. And moving on, still on the emerging stories segment, we look at another interesting story coming from the Ministry of Information and Media. And this is also a trending story where the government is saddened by the fire incident that swept through Chisokone Market in Kitwe District, Copperbelt Province, causing significant damage to property. Minister of Information and Media and Chief Government Spokesperson Chushi Kasanda regrets that within a short period of time, Chisokone Market has been struck by the same unfortunate fate of fire, causing untold suffering to many hardworking traders. She says government, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU and other government agencies, will promptly assess the extent of the damage at the market and provide the necessary interventions to support and assist the affected marketeers in rebuilding their businesses and lives. This is a story where Chisokone Market was gutted last evening, and we saw that traders are already lamenting about how they have lost their property. And we just hope that the government, as assured by the government chief spokesperson, they will intervene and be able to bring this matter to a close, to assist the affected victims. We understand that issues pertaining to fire at the Chisokone Market have been topical and have been happening. It's not a new phenomenon, but however, every time we have a fire tragedy, many people are affected because usually it tends to destroy their source of livelihood. So we'll continue to follow up that story, and we'll bring you in the 1930 menus a full package of this story. So our dear viewers, you can also give us your perspective on what you think about these stories that we are looking at on the Emerging Stories segment. And we also have on the Emerging Stories segment a story coming from the Ministry of Green Economy. And on this story, this is where Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Engineer Collins Nzovu, says while government wants to increase mining production, it will not be done at the expense of health and the environment. And speaking during a visit at Amizo Power Engineering Limited, a manganese mine, the minister acknowledged that the mining is a key driver of the economy. And Mr. Nzovu was disappointed that despite visiting the mining company in February, it has not complied with what it was directed to do then in line with safety regulations. So let's listen to this story.
We need to move quickly ourselves. So you look at yourselves and what you have not done before you blame the people for acting in that manner. So we have no issues with the people of Luapula. They voiced out their concerns, according to me. They were annoyed with us, but ignorantly so. They thought we are doing something bad. Then they understand that we are doing something very good for them. And by the way, we are going to see the chief again. And by the way, I've received a lot of apologies from them, but I've told them we have no issues. This government wants to work with the people of Luapula, the people of Northern, the people of Southern, everybody else. It's one Zambia, one nation. Remember, if we do what our friends were doing then, which we didn't agree with, then we'll be like them. We have to be different. The length and breadth of this country. 28 of our people were affected by manganese mining in Serenge. We don't want a repeat of that, of those things. So we can't do it at the expense of the health of our people. Okay. So obviously, we've seen that repeated violations here will not finish if we do not act. We will, again, through the provincial administration, appeal to the mine owners to do something. Because right now, as it is, they are discharging straight into
That's it. Those are some of the emerging stories we have happening today on the cabinet that will are likely to make a cut in the cabinet 1930 main news, and we are just trying to get you abreast of what is happening in the country. You too, our dear viewers, you have an opportunity to give us whatever is happening in your locality, so that we can see what we can follow up with our news crew, which is in the field at the moment. We can get interacting. Tell us what is happening, what do you want addressed, and your perspective on the stories we have looked in at so far on the emerging stories segment. And interesting enough, we started with the main news that at 12 hours we went to the nutrition corner and we were looking at the emerging stories. But you have to stay tuned for our next segment, which is the Forgotten Stories session, where we get to remind you of what happened on this day last year and in 2020. Welcome back. There may be forgotten stories, but truly they still matter up to today, and that is why we remind you, our dear viewers, of the stories that happened on this day last year in 2021 as well as 2020. And we kickstart the Forgotten Stories segment with a story where, following the death of 2 people due to political violence in Kanyama constituency, various stakeholders condemned the vice. Let's have a look at this.
On this road in Basela area of Kanyama compound in Lusaka, 2 people Friday 30th July 2021 reportedly lost their lives due to political violence. According to eyewitnesses, the fracas happened after 2 members of the United Party for National Development UPND were passing near the Patriotic Front PF office in the area when some PF members who were cooking lunch outside their office began throwing stones at them. The narrators say it was at this point that the UPND supporters retaliated by scattering the food the PF members were cooking to the ground, which led to a fight between the 2 parties.
PF wanali pa office pacha vanali mazimai vamapika okekali always kambiri vamapanga vamavinga lunch pacha, so vanizopika pananopika nsima vamboshoka ndio zao, panazoshoka ndio zao zija vaja makaders vanani va UPND vanadulikira ponya ngoma zizi zitatu ngoma za PF, then nakutira nsima na kuponya poto, then nakuvataira ndio na kutenga mametiro enango mucha. So vantu ndipo napopizika vambopaka nichivambomenya vimyara manje kuja kudo ku office kwao. So ndipaka ndipana na polinga kungena mukati wanatenga materials ya vitenge na vinango, then pana naenda kwa ichongwe icho manje ndipana peza kati ma UPND ma PF cadres na hivyo abwera ndipana mbokonkana ndiko napezeka manje ati umoza amwalira mbali moroti paja pa sokoro mngatenda kwambasera kukona kuja, then winanga nafera kapati mukati umu.
The Kanyama residents lament that they live in constant fear as the conflict between the 2 parties is never ending, which has made them create a curfew for themselves. They have called on authorities to restore peace in the area.
And PF na UPND once swafuna kuonana pafupi aliyense abwera twakamuona chabinango avala cha PF ngati wakupezana na UPND umenyewa, ukavala cha UPND ukapezana na PF umenyewa, nangwise ntenda na mabala stienda safe timankhala chetithava ikayamba chabe nkhondo basi tingachitithawa tilibe mtendere uliwonse.
However, according to them, both people who lost their lives on this road belong to the PF. The UPND, however, Sunday during a media address stated that one of the killed is a UPND member, Danny Chingangu. When asked to take the cabinet crew to the funeral house of their member, UPND National Youth Chairperson Gilbert Liswaniso stated that the funeral had been taken over by PF cadres who also had allegedly paid off their family members to claim that the slain was a PF member. In another development, UPND Deputy National Youth Spokesperson Phineas Pumulo has alleged that the party campaign center was demolished by PF supporters Sunday evening. Allegations of violence between the two major political parties in the country are rife as the August 12 polls approach. Zipporah Mushala, Cabinet News, Lusaka.
The deaths of the two are regrettable, and we condemn violence in the strongest terms possible from wherever it comes from. We also want to remind the ECZ that they are on record of having stated that they will investigate the case that happened in Kanyama, and in this case, the murder case. Now, ECZ has got no providence in investigating murder cases because that is in the province of the police and only the police. And so far, the police have carried out preliminary investigations and the actual investigation is not yet out. Therefore, we do not know what transpired and who did what. Therefore, the decision taken by the ECZ to ban us in the Kanyama election is clearly a premature decision and premeditated, and the ECZ, which is playing like a referee who is a 12th man on the other team, clearly in cahoots with the PF, is rather unfortunate that they find themselves in such a situation. Because all action the ECZ has taken against us has been instigated by the PF. Firstly, the PF will make a statement, and then the ECZ will implement it. Therefore, this ban is premature, is clearly premeditated, and we condemn the decision by the ECZ. However, I want to state for the record that it is too little too late from their side. We are going to win these elections. We will win the general elections because the people of Zambia have already decided, like we always say, this election is between the Patriotic Front and the people of Zambia. And the people of Zambia will win.
You have committed yourselves to various instruments of peace accords. Let us actualize that. There is no need for us to just talk about political violence, and yet we do not communicate that same message to our members. Is this the view of the political leaders at this country, that us, the political leaders, do not have control over our members, that they cannot even take heed to the message of a violent-free campaign? And in the same vein, I would like to commend the President of the Republic of Zambia for involving the defense forces in ensuring that the peace of the country is preserved. This is what we want, and we urge all our security wings to be on high alert and thrash out any criminals that may want to disturb the peace of our country. We are one Zambia, one nation. We don't need to kill one another.
Well, thank you for staying with us. That's a story there pertaining to political violence. Such unfortunate incidences where we saw citizens losing their lives due to political violence. And we saw that the current government now, the United Party for National Development, UPND, and the then governing party, the Patriotic Front, were entangled in issues pertaining to political violence. And Kanyama was tense as the levels of intolerance were too high amongst the two political parties. As you heard for yourselves, how the people started living in fear because each time these political parties continued on a confrontational trajectory, and that was also undermining the peace of the entire community. And we did manage to get through that period of political violence. But as a country, it is a reminder that every time we have elections, we need to make sure that it is a campaign of ideas. It is a fight of ideas and ideologies, and not a fight for violence, because at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters, and we have to love one another. And political violence must not have space in a democratic nation like Zambia, where divergent views hold prominence. Hence, we'll continue to be reminded that political violence has been a cancer in this country. Hence, this Forgotten Stories segment tends to remind us where we are coming from. So today, on this day, that's what happened, and we have to continuously be reminding ourselves so that we can see how can we better approach matters as a collective, as a people. Let's get interacting. In case you want to also add your voice on some of the forgotten stories that we have looked at earlier, you can share with us right now in studio. You can also reach us via our WhatsApp number that is on your screen there, just which is 0968 675273, 0968 675273, and you'll be able to reach us. Send us that voice note to be able to interact with us. And those of you who are having activities in your community, you can also film those activities and send us via the number that is on your screen on WhatsApp, so that we can get to attend to your concerns, and we'll be able to reach out to you and make sure that we continue interacting with you. And let's have a look at also what happened on this day, and let's have a look where during this period in 2021, most electoral stakeholders were trying to get accreditation for the August 12 general election. The process was not easy, and most of them were frustrated. Let's have a look.
Hunger and fury have continued to characterize the voter accreditation exercise, a process that has been described as a slow process by stakeholders. Camnet TV crew that visited the scene found hundreds of people still attempting to get accredited, with the pressure of Monday, 2nd August 2021 being the last day. Those spoken to expressed concerns over the slow process and appealed to the Commission to extend the voter accreditation exercise.
To the people who are here, there are so many, and it seems like the system which is being used is not all that good. They are very slow. They are very slow, and I'm doubting, because we have got thousands of people here. They, according to that's the last day, they won't even manage to finish. I was thinking, if this is it, can you look into that so that they can extend for some more days?
Looking at how the exercise is moving, it is very slow. It is so slow that it cannot finish. This program cannot finish today. It needs maybe 3-4 days more, because thousands of people are not yet captured. And looking at these people, they do cover long distances coming to this place. They stay on empty stomachs, and looking at how things are moving, it is just important maybe to increase some days. This is what I can say to ECZ.
And the Electoral Commission of Zambia Corporate Affairs Manager Patricia Luhango says the Commission has extended the exercise by a further 2 days. The exercise that was scheduled to end on 2nd August 2021 will instead end on Wednesday, 4th August 2021, to allow for all those that received approval letters from the Commission to be captured. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Indeed, we are still looking at the Forgotten Stories segment. They are forgotten stories, but they still matter in the Zambian context. And we are looking at a story there that is pertaining to the 2021 general election. Issues pertaining to accreditation were a matter of concern. So now they are reminding us what is the ECZ doing to make sure that such incidences do not occur, to avoid what transpired in 2021. So the Electoral Commission of Zambia there is being called upon to also remember that we had a tough time pertaining to issues of voter accreditation. How can we handle voter accreditation processes better in the future? Come the by-elections, as well as especially during the general election, this is when it becomes too difficult to attend to this issue, because you discover that most of the people want to do things at last minute, and we have also the ECZ that was incapacitated in terms of human resource. So those are some of the issues we were looking at pertaining to the electoral body there, the ECZ, and we saw, but they did eventually manage to finish the process, and however, it still serves as an eye-opener that we need to be making sure that our preparations are thorough to avoid those setbacks, and make sure that life is made easy for the people, especially when they are queuing, and because when the time you spend there, it is also wasted opportunity for productivity for a country that seeks to revive the economy. Now let's move on to our last story on the Forgotten Stories basket. We are picking on also another story where people living with albinism have called on the government to come up with a national albinism policy to safeguard their lives. Now, I'll be asking a question whether do we have that policy in place? This is 2023, but now let's have a listen to that story.
Albinism is an inherited genetic condition that prevents the body from making enough color or melanin to protect the skin from the sun. Due to their skin sensitivity to light and sun exposure, persons with albinism are likely to suffer from sunburn, leading to skin cancer and other skin-related conditions. Persons with albinism endure structural and systematic discrimination in Zambia. They continue to live in fear for their lives as they are actively hunted and killed for their body parts. Graves of those that have died are often tampered with their remains stolen.
This issue of ritual killings, ritual attacks, when we went in Kasama, we find that that side, it's very, very, very worse, whereby you find that we tried to interview some parents, we find that someone telling you like, no, if abana turabesarira omulando wakwebati kuno, you find that they are saying, they are saying, you people, you are even keeping money, payadi, you know. I don't know what we can do, and I don't know, because it's like it's going worse.
It is for this reason that the National Albinism Initiative Networking of Zambia says, through its president, Mr. Miracle Piri, that there is need for government to come up with deliberate policy to protect the lives of people living with albinism.
As people with albinism, there are challenges. Marital attacks. Today, my parents are albinism, my opa. Because you pick up one schools, you pick up Mativana, you pick up one school, so this appeal, could your government, like you president, national albinism what police because tiona mungati kuri vinyama vambiri musanga vinyama hivi ngati wapachi nyama mungati nkhala amuna kuchiri chonse timono cha vantu vamasevya vasovija law imasa visit but kuri vanopaya vantu vana albinism unajua people with albinism manja tikavomvya within today because vanaambia ma cases from 2011 until to date kuripenda mbiyako to ana pa ana albinism na government nangulo inamusa visit na manga kuribe.
Mr. Piri further complained that prominence is given to matters of less value compared to the safety of the lives of people with albinism.
Bi kuti kungali kuna law mzama constitution munga vankuri ati kuti mzama constitution tukatiangala vinyana vinachani vina act nanga why is vantu ise tina ubengwa ise tibe act munga ngati mpasa respect vinyama mpasa respect yo kutoa tina police Vinyana vinapoza good ministry of Jan, good ministry of fisheries. But it's a person with albinism. Could be documented on the need to protect albinism.
Clearly, there is need to develop a holistic concept of rights for people living with albinism, as these known findings reiterates the need for increased awareness and public health interventions for albinism in order to better address the medical, psychological, and social needs of this vulnerable population. Liseli Kanyanga Muvanga, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Well, there you have it. That's the story there from the National Albinism of Zambia. They were expressing concern pertaining to lack of a policy to safeguard persons with albinism in the country. It is a genuine concern, and up to now, we still don't have a specific standalone policy for persons with albinism in the country. These are some of the interventions that the country has to be looking at. And these myths pertaining to persons with albinism have continued. And just recent, we continued to see people continue to attack persons with albinism, which is a sad state of affair. Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, many African countries in the southern region are affected by this virus. We have seen that the international media has equally done a lot of works pertaining to documenting these activities to ascertain the legality, to ascertain the authenticity, or to say what they claim the persons with albinism provide in terms of money. And it has been discovered that there's nothing at all other than being a myth and a belief. And I think it's something that we need to treat seriously. And we continue to see perpetrators continue to undertake these abuse against fellow human beings. Yet, we have done a little to make sure that most of the perpetrators are behind bars or are subjected before the judicial system so that justice can be served. So these are constant concerns that continue to emerge, and we have to continuously explore how we can find lasting solutions to the problem. But even as we talk, as of last month, we were talking about this pertaining to an attack over a person living with albinism. So now this is where we have to end the segment pertaining to the Forgotten Stories segment. But like I earlier said, you are free to comment on the stories that I'm looking at this afternoon. And you too, our dear viewers, can leave us a message wherever you are watching us from. Remember also that you can still give us that audio message on our WhatsApp number, that is 0968675273, and we'll be able to get interacting. We would want to listen to your comment and your views. But right about now, stay tuned and keep it on Camnet Television as we come with another interesting segment where we get to update you on the sports happening, especially pertaining to the World Cup for the women. Well, there you have it. This is where we have now the sports update, and we are drawing you closer to the World Cup, and we look at the matches that have been played today, and what are some of the shocking news we are getting from the FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup. Let's get you updated with the matches that have been played. We start with the match between Argentina and Sweden. And this match ended in favor of Sweden. They won by 2-0. And we also see that South Africa were up against Italy, and South Africa have progressed to the round of 16, which is good news. They managed to win Italy by 3-2. It was quite a match to watch, and I did watch that one myself. And the match that is ongoing at the moment is the one that is between Panama and France. We are seeing that France is leading by 5-1. That's another cricket score there that we are having, France against Panama. And let's see, another match that is also live is a match involving Jamaica and Brazil. This match is 0-0 at the moment. So if you look at it, it's quite tense. I don't think Brazil will make it because, okay, this is also a tricky group, but we are seeing that France is likely to progress there because they are doing what must be done for you to progress to the round of 16. Now, moving on, we are looking at another game, the games that we played tomorrow, still on the group stages. We are going to have Morocco up against Colombia tomorrow, and we are also going to have another match that will be played between South Korea and Germany, and we also have going to have a match. Let's say now the round of 16. Let's see the teams that are in the round of 16. We have Switzerland up against Spain, and we're also going to have Japan playing against Norway. Japan has been a force to reckon with at this World Cup, and they haven't been joking. They managed to beat every team that was in the group, including the Copa Queens, Zambia. They beat also Costa Rica, and they beat those who were tipped to be favorites, Spain, and that is Japan for you. They are not joking for this tournament. It's something that teams have to be aware of, and they have to make sure that they prepare hard if they are to stop Japan, because they seem dedicated to this tournament. Now we're also going to have Netherlands have progressed, and the Netherlands are going to play against our African country, and that is South Africa. We support our fellow Africans, and we are going to support Banyana there. They will be playing the Netherlands. We just hope that they'll continue to do as they did today against Italy. And Sweden will be up against the United States, and this will be on Sunday. Let's have a look at another game. Another game will be England up against Nigeria. It is also an interesting match to watch because we want to see where Nigeria wants to take it, if they are taking it far. This is another African team that we are happy about, and we just hope for the best as well, that Nigeria progresses from the round of 16 to the round of 8. So we just hope that they do us a favor by making sure that they perform to the expectation by beating England. But England has been performing better at this tournament, and it's not a simple task to go past them. But we are just being optimistic that Nigeria can also pull a surprise against the English team. Let's also look, we're going to have Australia. Australia, this is Denmark. That's another interesting match to watch there. Other games are yet to be announced, and that's how it is standing at the moment. Let's look at the standings for now, so that we get to look at who is who now. So these are the standings, and we want to bring you closer to the games that are live, especially, but so that we get to tell you, to show you how it is looking like in terms of at the moment who's likely to qualify to the round of 16. And this is Group F. We are seeing that the games are on, and France are leading by 5-1, and France already have 7 points. Then they are followed by Jamaica. Jamaica, because they are now drawing with Brazil at the moment, so they are second in the group, and they have 5 points. So as things stand, France and Jamaica stand a chance to progress to the round of 16, because we are seeing that Brazil only have For now, as things stand, they have 4 points because they are still level with Jamaica in the ongoing match. So that means that they have to win. They have to win if they are to progress ahead of Jamaica. But as things stand, Jamaica stand a chance to progress to the round of 16 with a draw. So that is not good news for Brazil. And Panama are on 0 point. I think they were a team to beat by everyone. They were a team that was giving out points to everyone. And you can see for yourself there they have no single point there. And that's how we are optimistic and hoping that that will be winding up in that fashion. So this is where we have we look at the stats now. So we are seeing that these are some of the goals that have been scored. We have Japan leading the chart, and German second with 3 goals. And the list is 3 goals. So the top scorer of the goals is Japan, who have 4. So they are likely to come up with the winner of the tournament being Japan. Other stats are there where we are seeing that in terms of assists, we have the England player who is also reading the stats in terms of assists, who is James, and we have another one who is second coming from Japan. Japan is doing fine. They are on this assist. They are on second position. Then we have also Australia with second. So the others are trading on second on two assists. So we are seeing that England is leading in terms of the assists, and Japan is seconded. But Japan are topping the top scorer. So they are likely to produce a surprise at this World Cup. They may have a player that goes away with the golden boot in terms talking about Japan. So there we have Portugal. In terms of the yellow cards, the Portuguese are leading in terms of the yellow cards with 2, and also seconded by another team that is the Republic of Ireland. They are also 2. So in fact, everyone else is just a piece. So actually, there's no one who is the better of the other in terms of the yellow cards. Each team got 2. And let's look at where we are also topping as Zambia. We are on the top, but though it is same for all other teams. Zambia, in terms of the red cards, we had a red card where Catherine was red carded during the first match up against Japan. So there you see for yourselves. That's how the stats are in terms of the red cards. The Nigeria have a red card, and all the other teams have those red cards. So this is where we have to call it a day on the sports segment. We'll take a short break, then we'll have a recap of what we were talking about on the Lunchtime Cafe. This is Patrick Soko. Keep it on Kamni TV. Remember, Kamni TV is not just another channel.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Kamni TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Comnext TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Comnet TV, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kid show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamagazagia, to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Well, there you have it. That's what we were looking at this afternoon. We had started on a note of with the menus at 12 hours. Then we moved on to the Nutrition Corner. The Nutrition Corner is where we get to update you, our dear viewers, regarding how you should be able to balance your diet. How should you be able to eat healthy? And the National Food Nutrition Commission provides us with that information every day. We have the lunchtime cafe, and that's from Monday to Thursday. And make sure that in case you want to know more about nutrition and understand how to have a healthy diet, let's get to do just that. Listen to the lunchtime cafe and listen to the Nutrition Corner, and you'll be updated. Then we moved on to our next segment. That was the Emerging Stories segment, and where we look at stories that were making the headlines and the stories that were making the cut. I'd like you to make the cut in the 1930 main news on Camnet TV, and we looked at quite a number of stories, and among them a story coming from the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovu, where he is talking about issues pertaining to mining, where he inspected this company, and the company is not putting in place measures as recommended by authorities. That is a sign of defiance. And what is the ministry doing about that? We are going to provide more details pertaining to that story in the 1930 main news. And also we had a story coming from Edify Hamokare, who is an agriculture economist, talking about the Farmers Input Support Program, which the government is revising to make sure that farmers no longer get free input, but rather they start getting loans for their inputs. And that will be done in a phased approach. But Mr. Hamogare was actually advising the government to make sure that the program is systematically implemented, to make sure that people, the farmers, are not negatively affected, and that national food security is not compromised. And we also had a story where the chief government spokesperson, Chushi Kasanda, is talking about the issues pertaining to the burning or to the fire incident that was recorded at Sokone Market. He is concerned that the market has continued to be a subject of the same incident, and that the government is going to do everything possible with the support of the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to resolve that problem. So that's among the stories. Those are among the stories we looked at in the Emerging Stories segment, and also in the Forgotten Stories basket. We picked on stories on the death of 2 people due to political violence in Kanyama constituency, and various stakeholders condemned the vice. And we also had a story where during this period in 2021, the elections, the general elections, most stakeholders were trying to get accreditation for the 12th August general election, but it was not easy, and most of them were frustrated. And we also had a story where people living with albinism called on government to come up with a policy on albinism. And those are some of the stories we looked at pertaining to the Forgotten Stories segment, and that gets to show to us that there's a lot we need to do as a people to make sure that we really address these issues, and because some of the forgotten stories are still fresh, because most of them are still not being attended to. And we also looked at the sports updates, and we're giving you an update pertaining to the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup tournament that is ongoing. Our team, the Copper Queens, were participating in that tournament. Unfortunately, we could not go far in that tournament. We hope to do better though next time. We are saying next time because I don't think we are keen to remain behind in terms of qualifying for the World Cup, especially that the women have demonstrated that they are keen to participate at the global showpiece. and we're just also optimistic that the men will learn from the women in as far as qualifying for the World Cup is concerned. Zambia has never qualified for the World Cup. I mean the men's national team. They have never qualified. So we will be optimistic that Zambia also will take a leap from that and be able to seek to qualify for the World Cup. And so this is where we ended, and we're just going to leave you with some of the emerging stories that we are going to likely have in our main news at 19:30. So right about now, I'm going to leave you with the emerging stories. This has been Patrick Soko, and tomorrow be sure to also join us for the Lunchtime Cafe as we continue to give you nothing but infotainment. Keep it on Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Following it up based on the list which came out a few days ago regarding the students who applied for student loans. Looking at the number of students that applied for student loans, we had about 4,496, and out of that number 4,296 were eligible. But then only 1,403 were given student loans. And if you look at that number, it's about 32.66 of the eligible candidates. So our appeal to the government is they should consider increasing the number of students to benefit from the student loans, or if they don't do so, we are likely to have a lot of students who won't have access to tertiary education, because most of these students, they don't have any other means to raise money for tuition fees and other things. Their only hope was through the student loans. So we wish to call upon the government to consider increasing the number at least by 50%. If anything, let it be 60% in order to help our students there. Otherwise, we are going to see a lot of students not having access to tertiary education, and we have a lot of dropout students from the university.
Yeah, I totally agree with the Honorable Minister Mutolo on the issue of phasing out FISIP on grounds that it has not been totally effective. I can also confirm that we've had a lot of ghost farmers in the past, and we've had a lot of senior agriculture officers, camp extension officers getting arrested and taken to court, and some even losing their jobs for mismanaging FISIP, and sometimes managing it in a manner that benefits themselves, and also even people in very, very senior positions, getting involved in fraud in as far as the fertilizer input support program is concerned. It's true. There have been loopholes that require to be filled up. There have been also loopholes in the procurement process under FISIP, where certain individuals have always been benefiting as big suppliers. When I was with Panaseed, we were the suppliers together with Sidico, Zamseed and others, Omnia and so on. But you would find there are people that will always win tenders every year. And that was really surprising. So corruption was there. Nevertheless, this program must be handled with extreme care. The transition must be managed extremely well. What am I saying? Giving loans is good, but we should consider like in what form are we going to give these loans? Will it be cash, or will it be
we need to move quickly ourselves. So you look at yourselves and what you have not done before you blame the people for acting in that manner. So we have no issues with the people of Luapula. They voiced out their concerns, according to me. They were annoyed with us, but ignorantly so. They thought we are doing something bad. Then they understand that we are doing something very good for them. And by the way, we are going to see the chief again. And by the way, I've received a lot of apologies from them, but I've told them we have no issues. This government wants to work with the people of Luapula, the people of Northern, the people of Southern, everybody else. It's one Zambia, one nation. Remember, if we do what our friends were doing then, which we didn't agree with, then we'll be like them. We have to be different.
The length and breadth of this country. 28 of our people were affected by manganese mining in Serenge. We don't want a repeat of that, of those things. So we can't do it at the expense of the health of our people. Okay. So obviously, we've seen that repeated violations here will not finish if we do not act. We will, again, through the provincial administration, appeal to the mine owners to do something. Because right now, as it is, they are discharging straight into